And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new number one issues, new character debuts, new story arcs, and the like. And this is for the books coming out on January 8th, 2025. And speaking of which, Happy New Year to everyone, and hope you had a wonderful holiday season. Got to do some fun stuff, spend some time with some loved ones, and all of that good stuff. For me, um, we had a get together at my brother in law's house. It was the whole family, all my wife's family, immediate family, her brother, obviously, her sister and her husband and kids. Then also some friends of ours came over, so it was a very full house. We had two tables of games going on. Had grilled hamburgers and just had a good time playing games and just cutting up and all that good stuff. So it was a fun time for that. And then it's continuing because tomorrow, or actually today, as you're listening to this, I've gone to see Sonic 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and now we're playing more games at my brother in law's house. So just a busy week, busy holiday season. We got together for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as well. And we've had multiple game nights throughout the holiday season. So it's been pretty fun because we've got to spend some time with some friends of ours that we hadn't got to hang out with for a while. It's another couple that we know, and they have three kids, three wonderful kids, and so we all got to get together and have a lot of fun. So yeah, that was my holiday season, and it was a fun time. I'm sad to see the holidays go, but I'm looking forward to a brand new year ahead of us. This is January 3rd, and we're just getting started here in 2025. And hopefully, big things are in store for me personally. And I'll be talking about this down the line, but this is actually technically the 10-year anniversary of my comic book company, Last Number Press. We launched it in 2015. So who knows what's going to happen with that? We got to get some things caught up before we can properly celebrate and do plans for that. But we are hopeful that this year means big things. So we also have our first convention. We're going to an anime convention in a couple of weeks. So lots of stuff going on over here. And also, Comic Book Weekly returns next week. We've been on a hiatus for the past couple of weeks for the holidays, but now we are coming back to talk about the new books in the new year, and it's going to be fun to get back together with Mike and Kat and catch up and talk comics and all that stuff. So be sure to tune into Comic Book Weekly next week, cbwpodcast.com, for that on Tuesday nights, so you can join us as we return. So, but with all of that said, let's talk about what we're here to talk about this week, which is the books that are coming out next week. But before we do that, I do have just a couple of recaps. I haven't had a whole lot of time to read books, but I did manage to read two of the number one issues that came out this week, so I'll talk about those briefly. The first one is Cable, Love, and Chrome. This is written by David Pepos with art by Mike Henderson, colors by Arif Prianto, and letters by Joe Sabino. This is a 32-page comic, $4.99, and this is spinning right out of the time. It was a time slide maybe, book that came out over the holidays that kind of gave us a glimpse into some possible future storylines. One of those, we met this woman named her name is just totally slipped my mind, but her last name is Ryder, which I'm wondering if there's a connection to Richard Ryder, if she's like a descendant or whatever. But anyway, she was featured in there, and her and Cable were together in this book. And so now in this book, we get their first meeting as Cable is traveling through time again. He's assailed by some villain that he has a hard time defeating. In the process, he comes across this community and meets this woman, and it's a whole like village, a whole community of people that have the techno-organic virus that Cable was born with. And he's never like met so many people with this virus before. So now he decides to stay and kind of help them fight. This place is called Salvation Bay, so we're going to see what that entails. This villain is not done with them either. But it's an interesting story to tell for Cable, and it's a different side of Cable that we're seeing, because we've seen him with, with people in relationships before, but it's always been kind of a guarded situation, like him and Domino, things like that, where he didn't totally let his guard down. The closest we've seen him kind of really open up is with Hope, but that was like a father daughter kind of thing. So now we're seeing a different side of him. The art style for me wasn't my favorite art style, but it was fine, and the writing and the pacing I thought were really strong. I like this take on Cable. I'm curious about the story. So yeah, I'm in on it. We'll see going forward, where it's going to head, but it seems to have implications for the future of Cable, and maybe even reverberations for mutant kind throughout time. It definitely has potential to do these things. Whether it's actually going to capitalize on that, I don't know. But either way, so far, so good. The other one I'm going to talk about is from DC. This is Justice League The Atom Project, issue number 1, and we've been building towards this since Absolute Power ended, through the Justice League Unlimited series as well, other series, and we've kind of been pointing to this where we know that all the powers during Absolute Power were stolen, and then they got scrambled. A lot of them when they were extracted from the Amazos, and not all of them went back to the people they were supposed to, and some of them went to other people. And one of those people that didn't get his powers back was Captain Atom. So in this book, they've decided, Ray Palmer and Ryan Choi, the other Atoms, have decided that Captain Atom is the key. His mutant gene is, or not his mutant gene, but his meta gene is dormant, and they think he's the key to being able to transfer everybody's powers back to where they need to be. And in the process, they're rescuing a bunch of people that have gotten these powers and can't control them, don't know what to do with them, don't want them, etc., etc. And at first, like, they're working together, but as we start this book, the Atom is on the run, or Captain Atom is on the run, and we don't know why. So we kind of, go back in time. We catch up to that, why he kind of parted ways with Ray, why they're butting heads, not seeing eye to eye and stuff. And we see how hard Ray is kind of going on him. And eventually that's, brings him to a breaking point. But in the process, somewhere in the middle of all this, Captain Atom got not only his powers back, but other powers as well. And so now he's like super insanely empowered, and he doesn't want anything to do with this whole project anymore. So very interesting implications here. A little slow in parts. The art was good. The art was really good, but it was so what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It was and it may have been the coloring. The coloring was a little bit flat in parts. But at times, with as much exposition we were getting, and with the art style and the coloring, it kind of made it a little bland in points. So it was kind of hard to keep my focus, because I don't know, I have a problem with focus. So paying attention for long periods of time, I have issues with it. But anyway, all in all, it was good. I like the direction that it's going. I like what it's saying about these powers and how it's addressing that. And I like how each of these books, each of these like the Watchtower book and this one, etc., are kind of and the challenges of the unknown are all tackling little parts of this overall problem that Justice League is dealing with, and it's all interconnected, and that everything is having implications on each other. And so things that happen in this book are going to affect things that happen on those other books. And I like that. It feels more unified. It feels more important. It feels more epic. And even if this particular side story isn't your thing, I don't think you're going to miss anything by not reading this. I think they'll cover like the gist of it. And the same goes for all the other books. But I think if you read everything, you're getting the full tapestry. So far, I'm going to stick with this one. It wasn't as good as I'd hoped it was going to be, but it was, pretty solid. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is written by Ryan Parrott, who's one of my favorite writers. So it was like, I really wanted to love this book, and I didn't love it as much as I had hoped I was going to. It was also co-written by John Ridley, So maybe it was something in the translation between the two writers that just wasn't quite what I was looking for personally. The art is by Mike Perkins, so I really do like Mike Perkins' art. So maybe it was the just the combination of it wasn't quite right for me. But I do like the overall direction of it, so I'm gonna stick with it for now. I just hope it gets a little stronger for me personally. I have a feeling this is gonna be one of those books. Either you loved it, or it wasn't your thing, or it's somewhere in the middle. And for me, it's somewhere in the middle. I guess that's every book. It's right. That's I literally described every type of entertainment ever. It's either you like it, you don't like it, or you're somewhere in the middle. Yeah, duh. But it could be a polarizing book, but I tend to fall in the middle of those kind of things sometimes. So that's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, before I talk around circles in this again, trying to take my foot out of my mouth, I'm going to wrap that one up, and we're going to get into the books that are coming out next week. All right, we're going to start with one of three honorable mentions this week. This is Death of Cobra #1 from Image Comics. This is written and illustrated by Michael Fife. I don't read this series or anything having to do with Cobra, so I don't have any connection to this. But I did want to make anybody that does read this aware that this is out. This is the 4-issue finale story arc of this series of this character. So if you're a fan of this, you definitely want to check this one out. Next up is Cruel Kingdom issue 1. This is from Oni Press. And this is the first ever. It says here it's the where is it? I just read it somewhere. Yeah, EC's first ever dark fantasy anthology, conjuring tales of magic, myth, and murder from forbidden realms long before our own. So, continuing with this celebration of EC Comics, this is actually a dark fantasy anthology told in EC Comics style. And so, if you're a big EC fan, you want to check this out. This actually has some top level creators too. It's got Al Ewing, Chris Condon, Greg Pak, and artists Kano and Leo Max. So you've got a lot of creators there. 40 pages for $4.99. That's not bad either. Justin Jordan as well. Dennis Culver, Charlie Adler. So a who's who kind of murderers row of creators there. So if EC Comics is your thing, you like anthologies, you definitely want to check this one out. Speaking of EC, again in that style, we've got from Zenoscope Grim Tales of Terror, which tells the story of the Black Angel statue. It's this legend from Oakland Cemetery that's said to be cursed or haunted by this malevolent force. This is written by Joe Brusha. Not sure who does the art on this, but again, told in that EC comic style. It's got that similar branding and everything. So if that is your thing, you definitely want to check this out. But with that said, let's get into those rated books. From Dynamite, we have Zootopia issue #1. I may have mentioned this one on this show before, come to think of it. I did leave a couple of other books off that I had mentioned before that I guess got delayed. So I did not bring those up here. But I really like the Zootopia movie. I haven't seen the cartoon, but I think there's a cartoon. But I really like the movie. This is written by Jeff Parker with art by Alessandro Rinaldi. I do like Jeff Parker's writing, and I like these characters. And Dynamite is doing some pretty cool things with franchises. So I don't know. This one could be fun. I am giving this one a potentially good. And I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. It depends, on how many books I end up getting because I read a lot of books. So, but at all the same, I think it's really cool they're doing this. And if you are a fan of Zootopia, you might want to check this one out. Next, from Dark Horse Comics, we have Those Not Afraid issue #1. This is a new crime series from Kyle Starks, who did Peacemaker, Tries Hard, and Where Monsters Lie. So if you're a fan of either of those books, you might like this. And then the art is by Patrick Piazzalunga. I probably butchered that, from Monsters Are My Business, which I really like that art style in that book. Even if that book wasn't for me, I really like the art style in it. So it's a nice kind of juxtaposition there. I think the writing styles of Kyle Starks and the art style of Patrick really mesh well together, and that's got me really curious about this book. But this is about two serial killers who find out about this record that they're both approaching, and so they kind of engage in this terrible competition to make this record to be the first who achieves whatever this record is. So that's a really morbid but really interesting concept, and yeah, it's kind of got me intrigued, and I think I'm going to check this one out, and I'm going to give this one a promisingly good, just again because of the pairing of these two creators and a really unique concept. So promisingly good for those not afraid. Next up, we have Marvel and Disney. What if Mickey and friends became the Fantastic Four? So again, I talked about this kind of concept a while back. This is what everybody was afraid of when Disney bought Marvel, and now we are actually having fun with it and playing with it, and such a fun concept to have Mickey as Reed Richards, Minnie as the Invisible Woman. It looks like Donald Duck is the Thing, and I guess Pluto. It's either Pluto or Goofy is the Human Torch. Maybe it says here it's Goofy. So yeah, Goofy is the Human Torch. That makes more sense than Pluto. But yeah, that's just fun. That is fun stuff right there. We've got Steve Bailing and Riccardo Ciclini writing with art by Lorenzo Pastovicchio. 32 pages, $4.99. This is just a fun book that you can just enjoy and not take too seriously and not worry about it encroaching on your Marvel comics and anything weird going on. This is a what if story. It's an alternate universe, whatever. I'm giving it a possibly good just because I'm not familiar with the creators, but I still think it could be a lot of fun just as an aside. And it's also something you can give your kid and not worry about anything, and just let them have fun with it. Introduce them to both Disney characters and superhero characters at the same time. Why not? For a more serious what if style comic, straight from the thumbnail of this video, what if Galactus transformed Gambit? Issue number 1. We've seen the Hulk comic came out last week. I have not had a chance to read that one yet, so I don't know if it was any good or not. But I love Gambit. Anybody that watched 90s X-Men, read 90s X-Men, loves Gambit, typically speaking. So I think it's really curious because Gambit, the way his powers work with the energy and the way he charges objects, to see him with the power cosmic, I think would be really interesting. So I kind of like that concept. This one is written by Josh Trujillo with art by Manuel Garcia. I'm not familiar with either of them, so not sure what to expect in that regard. So for me, I'm going to give this one a potentially good. And I'm going to check this one out just because I do like Gambit and I want to see, visually what they do with it. But yeah, potentially good for me. Next, we have New Champions issue number 1, which is spinning out of that Spider-Woman series where this group of kids, there's 4 of them, were kind of taken by Hydra, and their brains were kind of wiped, and they were kind of brainwashed into thinking they were this superhero team, and they had this just mission, but really they were working for Hydra. And Spider-Woman kind of helped liberate them from that, and now they're their own people, and they're doing the superhero thing for real as the champions. It says, what do these 4 kids whose lives were derailed by Hydra, Scarlet Witch's mysterious protege, a cursed roller derby jammer, and a Wakandan runaway have in common? Not much. So yeah, these mysterious powers are activated that bring them together, and they have to become a team and fight this cult of Hela. So yeah, interesting there. Okay, so the creative teams, it says Ivan Fiorelli is involved, so I guess there's 2 different artists on this. Okay, so Igara is there as well, but also Ivan Fiorelli, I suppose. Or this website is incorrect. I don't know. But either way, I like the art from Timeslide as well, so that's fine. I think these characters do have potential. I'm not totally sold on them yet, but I am curious about this one. I'm going to check it out because of the creative team. I'm going to give it a potentially good. and we'll see what happens with this first issue and go from there. Next, we have Magik issue number 1. This is the first issue of an ongoing series, which I didn't realize it was going to be an ongoing, but it is. And it is written by Ashley Allen, who did X-Men Blood Hunt Magik and Marvel Zombies Black, White, and Blood. I don't remember if I read that Magik Blood Hunt book. I did read a lot of the Blood Hunt stuff, but I'm not sure if I read that one or not. I know I did not read the Marvel Zombies book, so I'm not sure about that one. The art is by Jermaine Peralta, who did Loki and Black Panther. It calls it a stylish, high-octane demon hunting adventure. So Ileana is kind of striking out on her own in this one, and she's using her powers. It says something ancient is awakened under the Alaskan ice, so it's kind of spinning out of the X-Men books too, because obviously the X-Men are based in Alaska and stuff, so she's kind of sidetracking, going on her own, much like Psylocke is doing kind of her own thing. So both of them kind of doing their thing. So I'll try it out, see what it's like. Not familiar with the creative team again, so I don't know how to feel about this one quite yet. So I'm going to give it a possibly good. Not sure it's going to be my thing or not. So that's kind of my hesitation there. But I do like the character of Magik, so hopefully, it'll be good, and I'll have positive things to talk about after I've read it. Next up is Daredevil Unleash Hell Red Band issue number 1. I don't care about this red band stuff, this current trend, but I do like Elektra as Daredevil, and this is Erica Schultz writing it, which she's been doing a pretty decent job with Elektra so far. So this is and the art is by Valentina Pinti. That name sounds familiar, but I can't place if it's the regular artist or if it's someone or where I know the art from. Anyway, these grisly crime scenes start popping up all across Hell's Kitchen, and all signs are pointing to this perpetrator, Muse. So now it's up to Elektra to kind of figure out what's going on, if she can stomach all these resurrected killers' most violent works, because this killer is obviously dead. So we're going to see if they really are dead or if this is a copycat or whatever. But it seems like it's going to be bloody and gory because it's Red Band. We'll see. Yeah, I'll probably try it out because it's it's Elektra and it's Erica Schultz writing. So, but for me, I'm going to give this one a potentially good, just based on previous content, and we'll go from there. Next, we have the Lucky Devils issue number 1. I've been looking forward to this one. This is the follow-up to 8 Billion Genies. This is by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown, the creative team that did 8 Billion Genies. This is from Image Comics, of course. And it says Good Omens meets Curse Words in this new series from the duo behind smash hit 8 Billion Genies. So unlike 8 Billion Genies, which had like every single person on Earth having their own individual genie and kind of chaos springing from their many, many wishes, this is focusing around these two demons that are rebelling in hell, and they are using these two 20-something-year-olds to do it. And so they're going to manipulate them. It's cheeky, it's satirical, it's good and evil, it's all that good stuff in this 8 Billion Genies kind of style. So if you were a fan of 8 Billion Genies, you're probably going to enjoy this. I was a fan, so I'm going to give this one a promisingly good, and we'll see what happens with it. I don't usually like, super demonic style things, but this is a comical book, and so we'll see what happens with it. And finally, from DC Comics, we have Aquaman issue number 1. He's got new powers. He's got a brand new mission. He's once again the king of Atlantis, and his powers have evolved from previews from this week. We know that he has Mera's powers of, I forget what the term is, but it's like the water kinetics that like Aqualad has and Mera has, where he can control water now. So Aquaman has those powers in addition to his other abilities, and now he's also got to battle Dagon. who is, from biblical standpoint, was a fish god, I believe. I don't remember who he is in DC lore. I'm assuming a supervillain, or another king of Atlantis, or king under the seas, whatever. Not sure, but he's oh no, actually it says Dagon is Arthur's guide on this quest to unlock these secrets of the blue. So he's actually a positive force in here. We have kaijus that are emerging and springing up everywhere in this book as well. But the thing that gets me excited about this book isn't even all of that. It is the writer Jeremy Adams. John Timms is doing the art as well, so really solid art style. But Jeremy Adams, every character he's touched at DC has taken it to another level for me personally as a reader. And he's done amazing things with the Flash and Green Lantern. So I have absolutely no doubt that he'll do the same exact thing with Aquaman. And it seems like this is the same kind of effect that Jeff Johns, and kind of actually the same kind of path, right? From Flash to Green Lantern to Aquaman. We kind of talked about this a few weeks ago on Comic Book Weekly, that he was kind of taking that path. So it's interesting to see that same progression and elevating each one of these in a different way, but in similar fashion. So for me, this book is getting a positively good, because I can't imagine it not being good. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This is my most anticipated of these firsts by far this week. So I'm really looking forward to this issue, Aquaman issue number 1, written by Jeremy Adams, with a positively good from me. And that was all the first that I have to talk about this week. So moving on to those other anticipated books, going straight from Aquaman to Namor, another king of Atlantis who is embroiled in this feud of the Seven Kings, and it's been a really solid story so far. It's Jason Aaron telling this epic tale of these Seven Kings and Namor, who's come back to kind of stop this war between them. And in the process, we have learned about the past, Namor's upbringing, and his connection to different peoples, and all the lessons that he's learned over the years, all the mistakes that he's made, and how things that he did in through his reign and through his childhood kind of led to the situation that we are faced with now. And we see different forces that are, very strongly connected to Namor in different ways, that he's having to come into conflict with. And now he's in the midst of this battle, and he's got very little time to stop it. It's been a really strong, really solid story so far, and it's been surprising me quite a bit. And I'm really looking forward to this one, because now we're at a turning point in this war, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. Kill All Immortals issue number 5, I believe, is the last issue of the series. It seems like it's been a while since issue 4 came out, but now we have, our main character, I cannot think of her name at the moment, Frey. Frey is now having to face her brothers and her father by herself, and this whole battle, this whole rebellious feat of hers is coming to a head as she's trying to fight for her independence, and we'll see if she gets it or not. In Geiger issue number 10, we have the return of Junkyard Joe. Geiger's quest to find this cure for this radioactive condition that he finds himself in has brought him face to face with Junkyard Joe in this latest issue, and his powers are growing out of control at the same time. And so yeah, it's going to be an interesting issue for sure. This has been a really solid series since the new volume. It makes me want to go back and read the previous stuff with Geiger, because I dropped it after issue 1 because I just didn't feel like it was my thing. But ever since this whole Ghost Machine kind of era of these books has kind of risen up, this book has been a really solid read for me. So it's like, okay, I missed some stuff. I need to go back and check that out. But I'm looking forward to it. Transformers issue number 16 sees the it says it's Autobots versus Decepticons. It says it in the description. It said it in articles and stuff, but it's clearly a battle between the Decepticon factions. We have, as the cover would indicate, we have Devastator, which is the Constructicons, versus Bruticus, which is the Combaticons. Both Decepticon combiner, robots. So I'm very interested to see how this is all going to play out. Um, Fantastic series, not a bad issue yet. Um, all new Venom issue number 2. The first issue was surprisingly really good. I didn't know what to expect from it. I didn't know if I was going to have to have read previous Venom stuff, but we had all these 4 possible candidates who could be the new Venom. We still don't know who it is. I don't know who my bets are on at this point, but I'm curious to see if we get any more clues in this next issue. Nemesis Rogues Gallery, issue number 5. I think this is also the last issue of this series, which again, I think it was delayed a little bit. They are on this billionaire island, and we're going to see if this sidekick of his, Rookie, survives the experience or not. My bets are on no. But it says it's a shocking conclusion with to the most depraved series yet, so we'll see what happens with that one. Next up, we have Uncanny X-Men issue number 8, which is the conclusion to this raid on Graymalkin Lane. So we're going to see how all this plays out and what Xavier has to do with this. We know that this year Xavier is going on the run and people are after him. So is this the impetus for that? We don't know, but I'm excited to see how this ends, because this crossover has been really enjoyable for me. And then Absolute Batman issue number 4, by far the best Absolute book so far, in my opinion. And we do have a guest artist on this. Gabriel Hernandez Walta joins for this, what it calls a central origin issue of Absolute Batman, to explore Bruce Wayne's past and his inevitable future to go bigger. So it's a pivotal issue. Probably should have been included in my first. I didn't realize that until just now. But yeah, this is a supposedly can't miss issue if you are an Absolute Batman fan. But that's it. That's all the books that I have to talk about this week. That was a mouthful, and I'm starting to lose my voice, believe it or not. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the first episode of Friday First for the new year, for 2025. Looking forward to being here every week with you for brand new episodes. And this year, I really do plan on expanding that content. I know I keep saying this. I'm kind of sporadic with it right now. I'm sporadic with the shorts, but I do have a game plan to kind of put out more videos and kind of ramp up the content here on this channel. So bear with me as I try to get that off the ground, and hope you're enjoying it. If you are, please give it a thumbs up, because it really does help. And if you don't want to miss any of this content, hit that subscribe and notification bell. And of course, you can follow me across social media at OnlyGoodComics, or type in onlygoodcomics.com to take you right back to this YouTube channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Once again, Happy New Year, and keep reading those comics, and I'll see you soon.